Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the MACMR May 21st meeting. Start off the day. I'm gonna ask the director to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We're gonna keep you on the mic. You want to lead us in prayer?
I will. And, first off, would just like to thank everybody for what you're doing. And I know that a lot of people, we've had a lot of people that had accidents over the coast here in the last few weeks. And I want to pray for the families because a lot of them are hurting right now. So if we could, let's go to the Lord. Heavenly Father, we ask you to just take us. Take each and every one of us that work for the Department of Marine Resources or have anything to do with it. Take this commission and give them all the wisdom to do the things that you would have it done. Have it done your way and not ours, Lord. We ask this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
All right. Do we have any discussion on the minutes from April 16th? We have a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have any discussion or changes for today's agenda? We have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Joe, it's your show.
All right. Well, a lot of things been going on in the last few months. Obviously, with the legislative session going on, we have we'll give you just a little bit of an update of where we're at. The oyster bill that we had, and which was to be able to lease our own bottom oysters. It's Senate Bill 2648 was signed by the governor on the 13th. So you'll see something today in our with fisheries, and when we'll be going to Part 22 to be able to change our regulations to match up to what the state statute says. So we have this thing right. Hopefully, we got it right this time. We've put a lot of effort into it. The team has, and so hopefully we'll be able to start being able to go out today if y'all can approve this, and we'll go out and start changing our regulations. And then our goal is to try to shoot for somewhere around the 1st of August time frame to be able to start doing leases. So hopefully we'll be able to get them in for the spring, for the fall spat season, and so they can catch and do some other things who want to do it. Any questions on that? We do have our budget. It was passed the other day. So we're very proud of the governor and for the legislators in the House and Senate for passing our budget for us. As we was one of the last ones, but we finally got it in, and so everything worked out. But it's amazing. You look at it, it's $256 million. So that's a lot of budget, but a lot of that is because of projects. So I want people to understand that. That's not how much it costs to pay to run the agency, but that's what it takes to keep the projects going and things that we do it. So we're very proud of that. We also have House Bill 1006 recreational crab license. So in other words, you don't have. It's not by the boat itself, or was it Rick? It's for household. It's not the household, it's individual. Yeah. So in other words, it used to be the household could only have so many licenses, 6. Huh? Yeah, 6 crab traps. Now it's individuals. So that makes it a lot different because so that worked out good. House Bill 1007 authorizing the printing of oyster tags. Well, it means that basically if you have a business, and especially when we do the on bottom and the off bottom, that they'll be able to do something where they can print their own tags up. We have rules for them to be able to do it. They don't have to come in and get one from DMR. So it's something we can use. Shrimp trawling, provide certain waters closed for shrimp. It's basically a half a mile, and anything inside of that you can't trawl and do anything else. But the way it was written, it was messed up to the point to where you possibly couldn't even throw a cast net. And so we got that straightened out. So now kids can go out and throw a net and do whatever they want to, around the inside of that. You just can't trawl inside of it. House Bill 1783 is appropriations, and the other one we just mentioned. We have one other bill It was House Bill 1439, Repairing Rights in Hancock County. And it basically took an area over there and it changed it from 750 yards to 300 yards as far as the state as to where you could do your repairing rights. And so that's basically so we could do oysters and do other things in that area. And that's only for state-owned property. It has nothing to do with the private property. Private property stays the same. Any questions on anything in the legislature? Oh, yeah, that's right. But you did get confirmed, didn't you? I was still wondering. I never did see them sign that. I just
So now
wondered.
you're stuck with me.
Yeah, now I'm stuck with you. So Jason is confirmed. So we do have him here. Sorry about that. I forgot. I don't know why they left that off. I guess they just didn't want you to be talked about. I don't know. All right. Anything else? We got a couple other commissioners that'll be coming up in the 1st of July, but you know, governor put them in at that point. What we do there from there. All right. Southeast Regional Partners for Planning and Sustainability Principles and Steering Committee met 7 through 9 May at in Gulfport, and we was able to be a part of that, and we appreciated it. Secretary of State was the one that was instrumental in helping us being able to be a part of that, and so Ray, tell him thank you so much for that. We do appreciate it. And he was there also, and we had and it was a good working group. Undersecretary for Environmental for the United States was there, and I tell you what, it was very interesting to be able to sit down and listen to some people, and we had quite a few states represented and was able to understand what was going on and work hand in hand. We got to see some firsthand knowledge of people that we would now know to be able to talk to that we didn't know from other states around us, like, you know, close states. But anyway, very good. Governor's 2024 Gulf Council, Gulf Coast Advisory Committee on Seafood will be meeting this afternoon, and Mark is my co-partner in that, and so we will be meeting this afternoon with the DEQ to be able to look at some projects that are going on the coast that people have put into the portal. So hopefully we'll be able to fund some more projects there when that time comes. The auction, if you know, we got a lot of equipment, a lot of stuff, some vehicles and other stuff, so even a boat or two, I think, is out there, and some other things that are up for auction, and it ends tomorrow at 2 p.m. So if you want to do it, you can go online, and you can access it at www.dmr.ms.gov, and you can be able to put your application even in online. But it is a closed bid, a sealed bid, and we will open tomorrow at 2 o'clock, or, you know, start opening the bids and be able to say who won what project. But hopefully it's always good to be able to get rid of some of the equipment that we have that not using anymore. Memorial Day is coming up on the 27th. We will be closed that day, but except for a lot of our Marine patrol will not be closed, will it? And we'll be running wide open, so it'll be out there. We hope that everybody has a safe weekend. We know that it's coming up, and I'm sure that a lot of different people will be out on the water, and we'll just see what the weather turns out. If it's like this weekend, you know, coming up, I mean, this week is beautiful, and it's saying all the way through Sunday, right? And Memorial Day's coming right after it. So, Tidelands applications start May 31st and end July the 1st. So if you want to put any Tidelands applications in, you need to get them in to Sonia by then. And so you got a month to do it. We're going to sponsor the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic, and it'll start on the 3rd of June and go through the 9th. We're doing a seafood dinner on the night of the 5th, and for the captains and the boat, the ones on the boat. I think it'll be a great idea for us to be able to market Mississippi seafood, and that's what the goal is. We want people to understand how great Mississippi seafood is, and I think we have some giveaways that we're going to give them to that's going to take home Mississippi seafood and how great it is. So hopefully maybe we'll break a new record again since Alabama's got it now. Maybe we'll get it back. You know, I don't know. We'll see. Our next commission meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 18th at 9 a.m. Any questions with that? All right. Bonnie Carey update. Go ahead. Come on up, Tracy, and let's give us a real quick Bonnie Carey update.
Good morning. For the plus payouts for financial assistance, we have 71 of the 83. Those agreements are signed. We're still working our way through several appeals. For the commercial vessel safety program, of the 146 applications received, 52 of those have been processed so far, and we're working our way through those. Our grant program for the processing, seafood processing technologies, the Seafood Technology Bureau has been working real hard. We have an application, website landing page, news release and postcard, all close to finalize. And that'll be, we propose a 60-day application period. We are just waiting for NOAA's response on how far back we can go on those receipts.
Okay. Yeah, we're just waiting on for NOAA's response. I may have missed it if you said it, but
Yes, sir.
we're waiting on their response to be able to decide what we can do all the way back to September of
Of 2019, the year of the disaster. Yes, sir.
We're trying to make it to where it's eligible all the way back to September the 1st, to be able to do that. And hopefully that'll come through. I think they've agreed pretty much on it. We're just waiting on them to give us a final approval on it. Is that correct?
Hopefully it's just formalities is the way I understand it.
Okay. And what will that allow us to do?
So it will allow us to take receipts back to 2019, where before I think it was, I'm not sure the date, it was a couple of years later.
Yeah,
So
it was. It's like November.
whenever the award was announced.
Yeah, I think it's like November or something. And
Yeah.
This way it'll give us of 2020 something like that. 22.
That's correct.
And so this will give us back to where we can take it and be able to pay the fishermen for what they're doing. But, I think it's great to see that 290 of the 293 signed commercial fishermen agreements. That's pretty good.
That's good news.
Agreements have been signed, and so we're moving forward on that. And 71 of the 83 commercial plus payments have been done. And so that's up to $108,000 we paid some people, and to be able to make them whole. And I want you to understand too, Mississippi is the only state that does this. Alabama, Louisiana, Florida, and Texas do not pay the commercial fishermen and the fishermen for what they do for their loss during the time. They use it different ways. They have to do a reimbursement or whatever. Mississippi is the only state that ever does this. So, I think it's great that we can help them because we are losing them right and left, and we need to keep our commercial fishermen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Tracy? Okay, thank you, Tracy. Snapper season, well, it's coming. Gonna open up about Friday morning, about midnight, 1 minute after midnight on Friday, I think is when it opens, and that morning. So we'll be here. This year we have about 64,000 pounds of fish that are available. We're going to set the season starting, and we'll go to the 7th of July. Is that right, Rick? And the 7th of July, we will try to be able to fish to that point, and then we will look at it at that point and decide if there's anything left to be able to continue for any more season. But we're working hard with NOAA. We're trying to do everything we can to be able to get that changed. We've put into a new program called the Mississippi Creel, and the Mississippi Creel is running side by side right now. And we're doing also our tails and scales, and we're running it all together, and we're running it with MREP. And hopefully this will give us something. The team in fisheries are doing a great job down there to make sure that we're getting what we need. Alabama's doing the same thing. So once we get this put together, if we have 3 states, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, all working under one system, it's going to be hard not to be able to validate that system. We'll be good. And I think it'll bring us back. I think it'll get us back to where we need to be. It'll probably be the 2026 before we'll see any effect of it. But hopefully we will be able to do something about it shortly. And any questions on that? Still 2 fish per day and still 16 inches. So I know Louisiana has 4, and I'm sorry, but we can't do it. We're with the numbers that we have right now. All right, Go Mesa funding. We got 35. We awarded $35,217,225 in projects that are being done that was put in our 2025 budget. So these are brand new projects that are coming out. If you had a project from last year or years prior and you have an update on it, please get with Russell and send him an update on it. Or if you don't, they will stay in the portal, and we will get our portal set up, and they'll be in the portal, so you don't have to update it unless they've changed to it. But if you have changes to it, please get it into him, and we got to have that by 1st of July. That's what we're asking for 2025. It'll be 2026 projects is what it'll work out for. So please get that in. Tidelands, we received $11,700,000 this year, and we'll be awarding those. It's usually around October, November when the Secretary of State gives us the check, so we'll award it at that point. So once again, Ray, thank the Secretary. We appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. All right, for derelict vessels, we have a federal grant, and it's in process, and a total of 153 derelict vessel cases have been reported since we started tracking. 115 of those vessels have been removed, 38 are pending removal, and 5 are waiting on a court order right now. So very great job is being done there, and we appreciate that. And Stephen's working hard with us to do it, and him and Roy are working very hard to make sure that we're getting those out. We had about 6 derelict barges the other day that come washing across there because they broke loose last Friday when the storm. And they come barging across the back bay there. So, but they got them all removed. I tell you, they was moved by what time was it, Jennifer? Saturday night. They were all removed, the barges. So they got them removed and put back out. And so very minimal damage, we hope, to anything, and that worked out great. All right, one other thing. I got a commercial. Oh, I guess I was supposed to do these contracts that I hadn't done. All right. So while I'm doing that, let's do the employment contracts. We got quite a few employment contracts, as you can see. I won't read them out, but you can look at them, and quite a few new hires. And then 1 promotion. And then we got 9 interns. And I tell you what, that's great, because those 9 interns work with us, and we have had a lot of luck getting interns to work with us for a year or two and then hiring them when they come out of college. So this is fantastic, and we appreciate that. Any questions on that? All right, any employment, nothing. All right, we also got a actions update.
Good morning. Discussed at the April 2024 meeting, the Commission recommended and the Director approved a motion to recommend the following changes to Title 22, Part 3, Chapter 7, to be sent to the Secretary of State's office for notice of intent. That being subsection G, the change being the recreational fishing season bag limit and size limit for red snapper shall be set by the Executive Director. The recreational opening order for the red snapper shall include language establishing the size limit, bag limit, and season structure for the corresponding season. In the event that the size and bag limit is not listed in the opening order, the established limits listed above in Chapter 7 will apply. And that is all of the updates that we have.
Okay, any questions on that? All right. If not, I got a little video I'd like to show you. Cam sent it to me, and I'd seen it prior to this, but if we can put the video up. C Spire did it. I think it's fantastic. So let's see this commercial.
The smell of salt is in my blood. I'm happiest in life when I'm on the water. We've got this perfect oyster that's been growing behind your island. It can't taste like that anywhere else in the Gulf. They're sweet, they're buttery, they're absolutely delicious. C Spire's strong signal is what keeps us in business.
Connecting you to what inspires you most on C Spire's blazing fast 5G network. And right now, get the latest 5G phone on us. That's customer inspired. That's C Spire.
Good commercial. I tell you what, it tells the story. You know, we need more of these, telling the stories about South Mississippi and how great our food is. Our seafood is fantastic, and I thank C Spire for doing that. That was a good commercial that I was able to put out, and hopefully we'll get some more, that they'll do some more in the near future. Mr. Chairman, that's all I got, unless y'all want me to talk more.
Well, we appreciate it, Joe. All right. next up, commissioners report. Have any of our commissioners got anything to report today? Nothing. All right, Marine Patrol. Who'd we? Come on up.
Most of them, I know Chief and Deputy Chief and a couple others are in Jackson at a big conference.
My name's
Okay.
Will Freeman.
Hey,
How are
Kevin
you?
Freeman.
So Colonel Wilkerson has tasked me to go over the report. Do you have any questions at this time?
I don't guess so.
I feel like we should haze you a little bit. Report back that it was brutal.
Just to advise, he is
No, I'm just a Marine Patrol at heart. Overworked, underpaid as the rest of us. So I'm just a humble guy here to answer your questions. That's it. No questions?
Nah, I think we're good. Thank
Thank you for
you.
the
I know
opportunity.
y'all, hey, and y'all be safe out there. I know you're gonna be working hard over the next few weeks. And, snapper season starting on Friday and then also the weekend and.
It's gonna be a rough one.
but,
Weather's too
hopefully
pretty.
The weather will be pretty and the waters won't be so choppy and y'all will be able to be out there and enjoy yourself and have a good time while you're
Yes.
doing it. And the most important thing is keep them safe.
Yes, sir, we'll do it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right, next up, Finance and Administration, Ms. Brewer.
Good morning, everyone. I'm presenting the financials for the end of April of 2024. The state revenue is 5.8 million, agency revenue 72.8 million, state net income negative 589,000, agency net income of 36.3 million. And of course, Gomesa's in the 41 millions in here. After 10 months of fiscal year 24, operations are at 84.8% of budget and Tidelands is at 51.3. Anyone have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Ms. Charmaine?
Good morning. The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources had 18 media mentions since the April MACMR meeting. News items included greater amberjack and red snapper season opening, the new 35-acre oyster reef being constructed in Bay St. Louis, and the winner of the 2024 Mississippi Seafood Cook-Off. The Office of Marine Patrol took part in the Shuckers Education Day on May 8th, Safety Day at Vancleave Lower Elementary School on May 17th, Water and Boater Safety Day at the Salvation Army Croc Center on May 18th, and Career Day at North Woolmarket Middle School on May 20th. Shrimp and Crab Bureau Director Jason Soche and NEAR staff took part in the USM and Gen C lunch panel at the Grand Bay NEAR on April 17th. Seafood Technology Bureau Director Christina Broussard took part in the Sidewalk Saturday Earth event in Biloxi on April 20th. Thomas Butera and Caitlin Payne participated in Scout Eco Day at Infinity Science Center on April 20th. And all bureaus in the Office of Marine Fisheries, the Office of Coastal Resources Management, and the Grand Bay NEAR participated in Marine Discovery Day on May 11th at the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science in Jackson. And we hosted the 2024 Mississippi Seafood Cook-Off in Gulfport on May 2nd in conjunction with the Gulfport Chambers Commerce Taste, Rattle, and Roll at Centennial Plaza. It was a great night with 6 chefs from throughout the state competing for the title. And we're proud to announce that our first ever queen of Mississippi seafood, Erica Light from Sola in Oxford. She won this year's cook-off with her dish, brown buttered snapper with sweet potato, hot sauce, chili crab, fried green tomatoes, and tarragon buttermilk. She will go on to compete among other U.S. states and territories at the Great American Seafood Cook-Off in New Orleans on August 3rd.
Joe, I know they don't let Auburn people into Oxford, but man, that Sola restaurant up there is good.
I understand. I'll be quiet.
Thank you, Charmaine.
Hey, we do have too, I know, I forgot to mention it, but, we'll be doing the Neshoba County Fair coming up on the 30th of July. So, that's a big event. And if if you're ever looking at somewhere to come up and, obviously there's a lot of things that happen in Neshoba County, but on that Wednesday night of the 30th, we will be cooking and doing seafood for the coast. And it's a one coast deal. And we have a lot of people that come, and last year was over 500, almost 600 people showed up for that one thing that night. And that's a good way for us to advertise seafood.
Nice. All right. Marine fisheries, annual shrimp season update.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm going to go over the annual update with you, and feel free to stop me if y'all have any questions. So I want to go over a little bit information from last year and previous year's landings and values. You do see a slight increase in 2021 to 2022 to 2023 in overall landings. This is every shrimp landed in the state, but we see a consistent decline starting in 2017 of the overall fishery value, and I'll dig a little bit deeper into that. So we do see species composition here with the exception of pink shrimp. We see a consistent increase from 2019, which was the year we had a significant hit to the brown shrimp population. We see a consistent increase in landings and composition of the overall landings with brown shrimp. So just to dig a little bit deeper into the overall catch, I wanted to show this slide. And so we're looking at Mississippi Sound only. This is not all shrimp landed in the state of Mississippi, but those caught in our waters that we manage, all species. And we see a significant increase in 2023 in that's kind of shifted over. I don't know why that legend down at the bottom is like it is, but that blue green colored bar is the average pounds per trip. So we do see some variation in trip length, and we can't really analyze down to that level. But if we just were to look per trip in our shrimp fishery, we see a drastic increase in the catch per trip. So what I wanted to demonstrate is that we're seeing plenty of shrimp out there. We're just not seeing as many trips overall. And so what we have to consider is fishing behavior might be different across these years, and that could be for a number of reasons. They may have not gone because of fuel prices or because of prices that they're getting for the shrimp, or certain sizes that they need to catch. They might not be available. There are disparities in market sizes, so obviously bigger shrimp fetch a higher price most years, and overall number of trips is probably a lot lower in 2023, or lower than some of these previous years. But if we see the value, that orange line, even though our 2023 average pounds per shrimp is way higher than those previous years, the value is down lower than any of those years. So this is our opening dates historically, going back to 2003. Last year and in 2022 and into 2020, we had May openings. If you remember, in 2019, we had a unique circumstance with the Bonnie Carey Spillway opening, so we ended up opening in late June. But 3 of the last 5 years we've had May openings, and the average, if we were to go back all the way to 1975, our average opening date is the 7th of June. All right, so this is our vessel counts. We do get out on the water on opening day. We do an aerial survey, and then we also do interviews on the water. And we've seen a drastic decline. If we were to go back and show some 1990 years there, we would see a lot higher numbers as well. But over the last few years, we've seen a consistent decline in effort at the beginning of the season. Some years we've got inclement weather, like in 2022. We only had 32 boats, but it was storming that day. But we really are seeing a sort of a shift in the fishery. There's not as much effort on the front end of the season because there's not as high a demand for the smaller shrimp. If we look at license sales, the same kind of theme here. Starting in 2010, we see a consistent decline. At really what we key in on are the commercial license sales, because of that's the majority of the fishery effort. And so if you look at the red bar there, the resident commercial license sales have consistently declined. So moving on to shrimp sampling. This is the slide we show y'all every year. We do still do the post-larval sampling, or GCRL does that for us beginning in February and goes through May, just to look at when the brown shrimp are moving into the bays. And then they'll migrate out when they get to a different life stage. So beginning in middle of April, we start our trawl sampling program. We use a standardized 16-foot trawl at set stations. And we are sampling to determine average size per day so that we can project out that opening date when they'll hit 68 count. So here's our stations across the sound. And then this is just a look at what we've seen so far this year as far as CPUE. So this is standardized to catch per minute of a trawl. So we do, like I said, 10 trawls per day. We started April 18th this year, and this is what we're seeing in 2024 all the way through yesterday. So we did sample yesterday. It's not as much catch as what we saw last year, 2022, but it's still above 2019 and all the way through 2021. This is just a representative sample at each station, what we saw yesterday. You can see there's pretty wide disparity in sizes. I tried to scale that the best I could, even though the pictures are different sizes. That scale is fairly similar, so you can kind of see that there's a big difference based on where you are in the sound. And just wanted to put a reminder in here that we still have this program ongoing for our skimmer fleet. Started back in 2021, and it will end in July. For anybody that hasn't already updated or added this gear, there's still an opportunity for reimbursement there, up to $700 per vessel, and they can apply online at our website. And then just a reminder, I already mentioned this, but we'll continue to sample. We will do another sample later this week, and at this point in time, we don't have a recommendation for the director, but we will recommend to the director an opening date based on projection of when they'll hit that legal size of 68 count. And we'll make sure to get that word out through public notices and through the website. And then we've got our 1-800 number or 1-866 number, 1-866-WE-TRAWL. Anybody can call that 24 hours a day, and we'll update that hotline immediately when we set the opening date. And I'll just take any questions y'all have.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. So, this year Louisiana opened like 16 days later. You think Mississippi's kind of going to fall into that same pattern? I saw last year we were like 22 behind Louisiana.
Yeah, usually we're about 3 weeks behind them. I mean, they do open on 100 count shrimp, so it's a little bit different management strategy there. Historically, it's a 2 to 3 week delay on average, and I can't project it now that it's going to be exactly there, but that's typically what we see. And I know that Louisiana, historically, they open by zone.
Yes.
And they manage those zones independently as far as opening dates based on what their samples are showing. So this year, I think it was a little bit different. It was a statewide opening. I think there was some strategy there to help benefit the industry.
So are you seeing higher counts to the east or the west over here?
Higher counts probably to the east, and that's just the most recent sample, which is off the top of my head, but that's subject to change. We did get a bunch of rain last week on Monday, and then on Friday, Saturday. And that pushed some smaller shrimp out, and that's typical. So, and we do have a moon coming up Thursday.
And that's kind of what we've seen as far as from a processing perspective, is the catch per unit's going up just because the raw material prices are hovering at like 20-year lows. You know, right now in Louisiana, we've kind of started out in the same vicinity that we left off in December. So this year really doesn't act like it's going to be anything different than what we've seen.
Yeah, I did attend a presentation that Louisiana did at the ASPA meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they were seeing higher CPUE, at least in the western part of the state where a lot of the brown shrimp is produced that ends up in Texas, higher CPUEs than they've seen in a long time.
But it's, you know, with the low prices and the high diesel, like what we've seen from the fishermen, just like I'm sure they'll tell you about the speckled trout, like when they're on, and they can't afford to go when they're off. So I think you've seen a lot of this patience on the part of the fishermen, waiting 7-8 days till some ideal conditions. And when they start moving, hey, everybody's right there at them. And that's just what they've had to do to survive.
Right.
So, you know, we certainly appreciate all of the hard work the DMR's doing to pump money into the commercial fishery.
Certainly.
Any update on the price they're giving for them?
It's the same as last year, General. It's a 20-year low, like it's hovering that way. And I know that Mississippi is sitting here with an average count of 68, but I mean, at the truth be told, like at the market price, you know, like some people have even got 40, 50s and 80 to 100s all the same price, you know, and if there is a larger discrepancy, it's only a nickel a pound. You know, so that being said, hey, as soon as you get the counts you need, let them go, because they're going to get the same price, you know, no matter what they're counting. And so hopefully that, you know, they can take advantage of fishing in the sound while the shrimp are still there before they head offshore.
And that is our strategy. You know, we always want to give everybody an opportunity, and mainly the smaller boats is what we're concerned about. You know, if they don't have an opportunity at the shrimp, then that's to their detriment. So
yeah, no, if we're down to 52 of them, let them go.
Yeah, and we'll as soon as they give me the go ahead that they feel like it's ready, we'll put that announcement out ASAP and try to give them. We have to give 7 days. Is that what it is?
we don't. We try to give as much notice as we can, but we typically give probably, I don't know, 3 to 5 days notice.
We'll give you as much notice to the fishermen as possible to be able to do it, because I agree with you. We definitely want to have them to be able to go out and catch them in the sound before they move south.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could, real quick, before we go to the next one, too. No, go ahead, Jason. But one other thing is, too, when we're doing the snapper, I forgot to bring it up. We do have an offshore landing permit this year. So, and this required for every fisherman. It's not like tails and scales, we just one on the boat, okay? Everybody should have one, and it's 16 and up. And so it's, if you want to be able to do that, you can go to dmr.ms.gov/ROLP / and or you can call the 228-325-1585 and be able to help. But please make sure you do this. This is going to help us to be able to keep the right numbers that we have, and it'll be able to give us some more numbers of how many actually are fishing and not just buying a license. Okay.
I think it's important to stress to the fishermen, this is not an invasion or
It's free.
It's free, and it's not going to do anything but help you in the long run. This is us working towards upping our quota, hopefully.
Is there a like a repercussion if, I mean, I'm assuming I know there was getting everybody, the process there and getting the permits, but is that when snapper season starts, if you don't have it, there'll be a fine associated with that?
Well, we probably will not do it this year because it's initial. We'll do it kind of like we did with tails and scales, and we'll try to get people to work with us and be able to do it. And if they don't have them and they get pulled over, Marine Patrol will talk to them and explain to them, say, look, you need this, and show them how to do it or whatever, and be able to do that. And the idea is to get them involved and to get the fishermen involved. And it says, the commissioner said it's for their own benefit, because this is going to take us down from 80,000 licenses that are being sold every year, that they're saying that when NOAA goes out and samples it, they're saying that's 80,000 people are going snapper fishing. That's not true. And so this will put us more in line with Louisiana and Alabama and other places that are being able to do that. And we'll be able to get more of a smaller sample of how many people are actually fishing for offshore. And but we probably won't be any fine this year, and the idea is not to fine them. The idea is to get them to do it.
Easing into it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Jason Ryder. Senate Bill 2648.
Good morning, Commissioners. Like I said, my name's Jason Ryder. I'm the Shellfish Bureau, and we're going to talk today about the updates that we made to Title 22, Part 1, in relation to Senate Bill 2648 and House Bill 1007. As Director Spraggins mentioned at the beginning of the commission meeting, we had to match our regulations to meet state statute. So that's what we're doing here. We did a similar process last year at this time. With the new bills, we had to come back and do it again. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will go through it. And just let me know if you have any questions. So the changes that we're making, we're amended the requirements for tagging of shellfish according to House Bill 1007, added and adjusted language in Chapter 10 pertaining to Senate Bill 2648, added definitions, and then amended the requirements for on-bottom leasing in Chapter 10 of Title 22, Part 1. So some of the definitions that were added, they were added to comply with the NSSP and state statute. We added adverse pollution conditions. We added the definition for certification or certify. And I'm not going to read these, but if y'all have questions or want to review further, just ask. We did update our permits. So we have a couple different permits in the Shellfish Bureau. These permits typically expired at the start of the calendar year, but now we're trying to line them up with fishing licenses, which is in April. So we revised that language with the expiration occurring on April 30th of each year. We defined container for on-bottom and off-bottom oysters. Cultivation was defined in regards to on-bottom leasing, and I will read that one. It's the deliberate actions taken by the leasee to improve conditions for the growth, reproduction, and overall well-being of oyster populations within the designated lease area. This involves activities such as bagless dredges and other forms of substrate maintenance. Leaseholders may submit additional or alternative activities to the executive director for approval to adhere to the requirements of this part. We did define most probable number, which that correlates with the NSSP. Propagation was defined, relay, and trip ticket. Those are all new definitions that we put in to help us regulate. And so Chapter 3 is pretty simple. We are going to keep some check stations, but we wanted to give the ability for the agency to open and close the oyster harvest zones and areas through different methods. So we added if applicable, and then we are going to keep the oyster hotline, and same thing. If there's a better form of communication with the harvesters, we want to leave that out there. So text messages, phone calls, things like that. Chapter 4, updated it to meet Mississippi Code 491538. And then on G, we just updated some language for transferring of oysters. Instead of having it at the check station, we struck through the check stations and we added that both vessels have been checked out at the designated landing location, and then transfers can occur. Chapter 5, this coordinates with House Bill 1007, and what it was is, as Director Spraggins mentioned, we wanted to allow the harvesters to print their own oyster tags. Historically, all tags have been printed through the agency, so harvesters come here, we print the tags, and then they go harvest the oysters at the agency or check stations. With the new language, they would have the ability to follow some guidelines according to the NSSP and our permits, and if they meet those guidelines, they could have systems that will print their own tags, track their tags, and then submit the required information to us. We did have the requirements for the tags, and I'll just read those if that's okay. And then they shall be durable and waterproof. The tags shall be 5.5 by 2.5 inches in size, stay affixed to the container until the container is in possession of an individual or business who is licensed and certified to sell shellfish, and the tags shall not be reused. Additional information for the tags for harvesters. Harvesters must complete all information on the tag, including the harvester's identification number as assigned by the authority, harvest date, harvest area, type of shellfish, quantity of shellfish, and then there's a
a statement that's required for all the tags. And it states this tag is required to be attached until the container is empty or is retagged and therefore kept on file for 90 days. We did strike through some language in chapter 5, and then the tags have to be attached to the outside of the container, and we struck through some language regarding the fastener which the tags are attached to the sacks. Chapter 8, we swapped out generally accepted culch material regarding culch material for approved culch material that just complies with our regulations. Again, a lot of this is just matching wording and verbiage. So chapter 10, chapter 10 mainly deals with Senate Bill 2648, and I will read some of this information just to explain it all. So in Rule 10.1, all Mollusk and shellfish leases must adhere to the following boundary markings. Each leaseholder must mark the corners of each lease with an appropriate marker and must maintain all markers. If the lease configuration does not have definitive corners, the boundaries must be marked in a manner that clearly identifies the lease area. This was done because, as y'all know, it's easy to draw a square on a piece of paper, but it's not always easy to do it in reality. So they can mark various areas. Chapter 10, continuing on, we updated some off-bottom language, just correct some grammatical formation, and then all off-bottom mollusk and shellfish aquaculture harvesters must adhere to the rules and regulations outlined in the applicable public title and sublease, commercial aquaculture permit, this part in the most current version of the NSSP model ordinance. We did include some language to require private aids from navigation for off-bottom mollusk and shellfish leases. What that means is if you have an off-bottom lease, you have to mark the corners. Rule 10.3, mollusk and shellfish leases. This is the lease application. So this deals directly with the new language that was passed in Jackson this year. And I will read these. For the lease application, any person wanting to lease bottoms must comply with on-bottom shellfish lease application in writing and submit it to the MDMR authority. Applications will be available at the MDMR office and on its website. Applicants must be a resident of the state of Mississippi, or if a firm or corporation, such firm or corporation shall be organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi, registered with the State Secretary of State's office, and owned by a resident of the state of Mississippi. Each application must be accompanied by a plat showing the proposed lease area using decimal degrees, coordinates, depicting the area to be leased, and a description of the culch material and amount to be deployed. Number 7, we modified to read, the MDMR will issue a public notice that applications will be accepted, and such applications will be prioritized based on the qualifications established in Mississippi Code 491527. And then we did delete A through F, which that was old language that we revised this year. Under the lease application review, the MDMR authority will review and evaluate each lease application based on the information provided in the application and determine the qualifications of each applicant. Approval of lease applications will be based on the information provided in the response application. Applicants will be prioritized based on the qualifications established in Mississippi Code 491527. The MDMR authority may request additional information from the applicant or conduct site visits as part of the application process. Excuse me. Continuing with Chapter 10, the lease application review, it states, in the event that the applications are received for overlapping areas, the area will be assigned to the applicant with the highest priority based on the qualifications established in Mississippi Code 491527. In the event that the areas applied for are the exact same area and the applicants are deemed to possess the exact same experience and financial stability, the MDMR will award that particular lease to the first applicant. The leases must be awarded to promote the maximum cultivation and propagation of mollusk and shellfish. And then we did strike through number 8 of the review process. lease conditions. We updated it to 15 years, and they'll be prorated. I'll read it, excuse me. All leases issued must be prorated from the date of the lease to the following expiration of the 15 years from the date of the lease. Number 7, each application for an on-bottom lease must be for a minimum of 1 acre, but must not exceed 2,500 acres. Number 9 and 10 were struck through, and then number 11 was revised for formatting. No proposed lease areas will be approved that are within 50 yards of an existing lease area or lease area that is pending final approval unless the same person holds both leases. Continuing with chapter 10, we did strike through these. We did move this information just a different section of chapter 10. The reporting was revised. We're requesting that all reports be submitted on December 31st of each year. And then termination and waivers, noncompliance with the lease terms, laws, and regulations after an opportunity to remedy the noncompliance may result in termination of the lease and forfeits to the MDMR all works, improvements, betterments, and oysters on the leased water bottom. G states that G was a formatting issue. We had the information and we moved it to another part of the section. But it's for leases and transfers. And then number 5 for G states the lease transferee must be a resident of the state of Mississippi, or if a firm or corporation, such firm or corporation shall be organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and owned by a resident of the state of Mississippi. Number 6 states that no lease transfer can occur more than 2,500 acres. And with that, our recommendation is that we recommend to the executive director that the proposed changes to Title 22, Part 1 be sent to the Secretary of State's office for notice of intent. Does anyone have any questions regarding that information?
On chapter 10, number 11, where it talks about 50 yards of an existing lease, is there anything that says is there a distance barrier on 2 different people having leases next to each other?
Is there a distance barrier? The 50 yards is so the distance between 2 leases. If you hold both leases, that doesn't apply. But the distance.
So do we run, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Do we run the risk, let's say John Brown leases 2 that are within 50 yards of each other because he has that exception because he has the one next to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he decides not to continue the lease on one of those pieces, does that make that unusable acreage for the next person that comes along because they're inside of that boundary?
I believe what we can do with that is we can you're saying if he does not use that acreage and it goes back out for application status. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
but
asking?
it's inside of that minimum, I'm gonna call it a setback, you know.
Yeah, I think what he's asking, Jason, I think the question is if I lease 2 pieces of property, have 2 different leases, then do I have to have the 50 yards?
Well, no. It says there, if
And
one
if that's not the
person-
case, then
I'm
if I
saying if he
decide
gets
not to
rid of
lease
one.
one of them, when it goes back out, that 50 yards comes into effect if it's somebody else.
That's correct. The 50 yard would come into effect if it goes to another.
So it would just have to shift a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's what I.
We talked about marking the corners, and so if the each lease is marked, are there any restrictions for other fishermen, whether it's recreational, shrimpers, pogie, anything?
My understanding is that it still would be open to all fishing activities in that area. Now, we don't want any destruction of property if someone comes in with some gear that goes over the bottom. That's not intended, but it would be open for recreational fishing and commercial fishing.
Yeah, and the thing about it is they're leasing the bottom. They're not leasing the water above it. Okay? And so the water above it is still owned by the Corps of Engineers, which owns all the water basically, and the state of Mississippi and the United States government. So
As a recreational fisherman, I like to fish oyster bottoms. So that's
And
why I was asking.
one of the reasons for doing it.
Yeah.
Because, the more oyster beds we have out there, the more food that's going to be there for the fish and everything else. And so that's what's better. And so I think that, unless you deliberately, as Jason said, trying to destroy something or something like that, I don't think Marine Patrol is going to have a problem with that. But, you know, if you are trying to destroy somebody's bottom, you know, then that's a different story.
So, navigable water rules in Mississippi would still apply even though
Right.
these are leased.
Right.
Okay.
And I would like to thank Eric and Jason and them for the hard work y'all put into this. I know this has been a long, hard road of trying to get this together. You know, we had some snafus from last year, and so we fixed them. We got with the legislature, and the legislature helped us fix them. Now, we're trying to marry up as much as possible with what the Senate bill says and what the statute says. So you need to go in and look at it. And that's what we're trying to marry up against. And we're not trying to be a lot any more restrictive than what we have to, but we want to be able to do what we need to do. And we want to marry up to that bill. And I think they've done a great job in trying to do that. And if you applied last year, you're going to have to reapply. Now, we're sorry that it happened the way it did, but you're still going to have to reapply when we open it up. And hopefully, if we can get this passed by y'all today, then we'll go forward and we'll send it to the Secretary of State and have it put out. And then it'll take about 60 days or something in that neighborhood to be able to get back. And hopefully by the July time frame, when you have your July meeting, we can pass it. And then we'll be able to go in effect sometime close to the 1st of August, if that works fine. Is that right, Jason? That makes sense?
Is that August date for receiving applications, or that's
start-
hopefully to be able to start? So you'll have the process of receiving and approving prior to the August one?
The August date would be being able to go out and start asking for applications.
Okay, gotcha.
And, you know, and then the applications will be addressed as they come in. And, you know, I don't think we'll have an application period of X amount of days and it'll be as addressed as they come in, my understanding. Is that right?
That's correct.
And it's not gonna be like you got from August the 1st to August the 15th to apply.
I think that's a management decision that we can work through, but we can structure it.
Yeah,
how need
we'll
to.
have that by July, we'll have that figured out, won't we? All right, anything else for Jason? Thank y'all so much for all your hard work on this.
Yep. Thank y'all.
Nothing else? All right, so do we have a motion to approve? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There we go.
And the motion is to approve staff's recommendation, right?
Yes, sorry, I should have said that.
All right, subject number 3 from our group. Final adoption of regulatory changes to Title 22 Part 3 for red snapper bag and size limits. Same background as the previous meeting. Currently we're under a 16-inch minimum size limit, 2 fish per person bag limit. Primary goal of this regulation is to allow the executive director the flexibility to alter the bag and size limit for red snapper on what was an annual basis. Now it's as needed because we took the annual language out. And we've been given this authority through Amendment 50 for this action, and other states have also had this flexibility now, and Louisiana's been exercising it. So the regulation occurs in Title 22, Part 3, Chapter 7, which is recreational bag possession and size limits, and it reads as, the recreational fishing season bag limit and size limit for red snapper shall be set by the executive director. The recreational opening order for red snapper shall include language establishing the size limit, bag limit, and season structure for the corresponding season. In the event that the size and bag limit is not listed in the opening order, the established limits listed above in Chapter 7 will apply, which is that 16 inches, 2 fish per person. As far as the administrative procedures, the proposed rule was submitted to the Secretary of State on 4/18. It appeared on the website 4/19, and an ad was displayed in the Sun Herald, and we have not received any public comments to date on this. And what we need to move forward is a motion to recommend final adoption for these changes that were listed.
Any questions? All right, do we have a motion to recommend final adoption?
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
We got you up for one more.
One more. All right, saltwater fish records. We got one of them. So I know we had a recreational or a conventional tackle record for red grouper. Somebody saw that and decided they want to get one that's a little bit bigger with a spear. So it's a red grouper again. The old record was the conventional tackle record, 22 pounds, 12 ounces. The new all tackle record is 27 pounds, 0.32 ounces by Mr. Darren Grant. There's a picture of the fish and Mr. Grant with the fish. That's a jumbo. And all we need is a motion to adopt the new state record.
That's nice. You know, I'm glad we did that change to the records to be able to allow these guys with spears or whatever method to hold a record as well.
Yeah, they're definitely able to set a few of them.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, Trevor. That's what I was about to ask for.
Yeah, on the other business, one thing I'd like to talk about is hybrid oyster. And Spat Tech is working on a hybrid oyster that hopefully we'll be able to start deploying sometime this year into some of our into the waters that we have. And what they've done is they took a group of oysters, and I think they started out with 1,500 oysters. They took them over to Louisiana and they put them in the waters where with less than 5 parts per thousand. And so that's, an oyster really would like to have 18, or more parts per thousand to live. But these oysters, out of that 1,500 that they took, 20 of them lived. Well, out of that 20, they took those 20, and now they've gone back and they've started, reproducing with them. And now they're up into the millions that they have that are over in that area. And so they're actually living. And the team has went over and looked at it and saw what was going on and was very impressed with what it was. The water is kind of, mucky looking and everything else, but it's kind of like living in a back river or something to that point. But the idea is that we could be able to get these oysters to where the brood stock that we're working off of that can live in less than 5 parts per thousand. Then we could start putting them into the areas, into the back bays and all, which are not harvestable, but they would be able to live, and we would be able to spawn off of that. And when those spawn go out, it would be able to feed the other estuaries where we need it. And then on top of that, it would also be able to help us in a time of a Bonnie Carey opening or the freshwater intrusion to any type, that we might not lose the whole oyster resource. So what we're going to try to do is work out some ways to be able to put some. We have a contract with Spat Tech this year to be able to put some oysters out. And so we're looking at them to be able to put some of those oysters into the areas, in certain areas. And this would be on lands that we're going to keep as a state itself, that 20%. This is where we would put it. But it would be able to do that. And then the oyster will adapt a little bit as the time goes on. And obviously, the salinity of the oyster will change, and, in the salt or the whatever, and it'll change. But the point I'm getting at is this is a chance that we have to be able to grow an oyster in which they are doing it, and they're doing it on their own. They're not charging anybody doing it. They're doing it themselves. And they're going out trying to help us to be able to come up with a way to have a hybrid oyster that can live in this less than 5 parts per thousand. So I think that's a great idea. TNC has a contract with us that has a grant this year for $1 million to be able to put some more oyster stuff. We're going to look at them being able to put some in an area. One of the places we're looking at is Trapani Reef, because they've already, went in and basically coached it, and so now they could seed it. This is a non-harvestable reef, and so it would be something that we could definitely use this and see how it works. And we're hoping that that'll work, and also that we did get $1 million too through the Go Mesa to be able to do some more artificial reef. So that's going to help us there, and we're going to be able to put out some more artificial reefs with that. So I just wanted to bring that up about the hybrid oyster, and I think that's a great.
Joe, do you know these that are living in the low salinity, do they have any drawbacks in high salinity, or they?
No, they're
live
not.
just like-
Right now, we're not seeing anything, and that's the idea too. We're going to take them and put them into the water where the salinity can be a little bit higher, and see how they adapt to that point. And if they adapt, and they would be used as brood stock. That was another thing. Spat Tech has asked for an area that they could just take some and put some in as brood stock, and then be able to harvest them and then spawn and take them, put them back. And and that would be an area that we would be looking at too.
That's really cool. I like it. Any other business? Nothing. All right, we got 2 public comments today. First up will be Miss Susan Snyder. Topic will be Reynolds property. Ms. Snyder, you'll have 3 minutes here. Thank you for coming in today.
Good morning, Mr. Spraggins and Commissioners. I appeared before you at last month's meeting in regard to the Reynolds property located in Ocean Springs, which was purchased by the DMR with CAP funds after Hurricane Katrina. We were told by you that Fish and Wildlife Service had approved the City of Ocean Springs' request to convert the green space into a parking lot, but that you were going to have your in-house legal staff continue to review this request. It is our understanding that Fish and Wildlife has now rescinded its permission for a parking lot. It's clear from the warranty deed that it is the responsibility of the DMR to conserve and protect this property and its natural features for the public good. We, as neighbors and concerned citizens, implore and expect the DMR to uphold this agreement to its fullest extent. We believe that the Land Trust for the Mississippi Coastal Plain would be the perfect partner to manage the Reynolds property, as its mission is to conserve, promote, and protect the open spaces and green places of ecological, cultural, or scenic significance in the counties of the Mississippi Coastal Plain. We hope that in the future, when City Hall and elected officials decide to ignore, disregard, or bend the rules to suit their own desires, that the DMR will not allow such egregious behavior to prevail. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. All right, next up we have Miss Patricia Creel on the same subject.
Good morning. My name is Patricia Creel, and I am speaking on the same subject. The subject is the Reynolds property, and just one second. Several things. I want to thank you so much. I've been advised that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife has rescinded the green parking space as approved use for the Reynolds property. It's my understanding that the U.S. Fish and Wildlife are now requiring the DMR to provide an updated plan that meets the original requirements to restore the property to its natural state. I am recommending the CMR and the DMR submit a plan that restores the property to its natural state. This would include removing the top red clay topsoil that was replaced and put a more natural soil, restoring native plants and vegetation to the property, installing a post and rope fence around the property similar to the fence surrounding the McElwain Park at Ocean Springs Harbor. There is an existing drainage system that connects the Reynolds property to the bay, so there would be no need to create a new one. This could be done at a minimal cost and possibly use existing funds from the restorative program. I'm also recommending that the neighbors who are contentious to the Reynolds properties have the input in the restoration of the property. This is from Amendment 3 that y'all had received. The 90-acre parcel, Front Beach in Ocean Springs, adjacent to the sand beach and the new public park. The acquisition of this parcel will ensure its use as a green space, a natural area, and will be complement the ongoing effort to protect the Ocean Springs waterfront and development. Thank you very much.
If I could, I'd like to address both of you. I just don't want to do it individually, but we are working on it. We're working on it every day. Fish and Wildlife did not rescind it. They said that they wanted us to look at it again. And then they've asked us to send another proposal or what to do. We're looking at 2 or 3 different options. And so what we're doing is we work with them, and we're looking to be able to find out what should be done with that piece of property and how it should be handled in the right way. And that's exactly what we're doing. I can tell you right now, we should have never bought it. It should have never been bought by the Department of Marine Resources. It has nothing to do with the coast, the actual coast itself, and the water, the ecological part of it, or anything. So that's just part of it. It was done, but we're going to try to correct it, and our goal is to correct it and make it right. And that's exactly what we're doing. We appreciate it. I see each and every one of your comments that you send me and all, and I do understand it. But and I promise you that the minute that I have an answer as to what we're going to do, I would let everyone know. I will call a meeting to let you know. I'm not gonna surprise you. I'm not gonna just put something and kind of hide it under or anything else. I'm gonna be upfront with you exactly 100% what we're looking at. But we heard you. We're listening. We heard what you're talking about. We're looking into it. And after some other issues, Fish said, okay, wait a minute, let's look at this again. And so that's what we're at. They did not actually rescind it. They just said, let's look at it and look at it further. They wanted us to put another formal proposal together of what we wanted to do, but we're looking at about 2 or 3 different ways of doing it. And as soon as we get that answer, we will let you know. I promise you that. Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Is a parking lot still under consideration?
It is there as a possibility. They're asking us to put another proposal in, official, different one on it, but we have it at this time. I don't know where we'll be with it, and we're looking at it. We're looking at every way we can. And once again, it's like I said, we should have never bought it. And that ought to have been something someone could have built a home on or do whatever they wanted to do on it. But and to build it back the way that we said that we would do, we would have to tear out, as you talked about, all the topsoil that was put in there, that was there. We would have to tear it all out. We would have to build a canal back through it, is what I'm being told, and even possibility of tearing the road up and putting a bridge over the top of it. And we don't want to do that. That's not what we want to do. We don't want to be a part of that. That's not what we want to do with it. The way, when the property was bought by the Department of Marine Resources, it's in the shape it's in now. It was not in the shape of having a canal through there and having everything done. So I'm not sure why we did that. I'm not sure why it was done by her. I'm sure they had good intentions on what they were doing, and but it just didn't. It's not something that we feel like we want to spend a bunch of money on to go in. And I don't think you want a canal there either. I don't think you want us to dig a canal. I know, but I mean, I don't think you want us to dig it out according to the size that they said it should be. And then also tearing up the dirt and everything else there, I'm not sure whether that really makes it a benefit or not. There might be a lot of good uses for that piece of property. There might be some good uses for that piece of property that could be better off than where it is, by doing that. So that's why we're looking at it. I'll be honest with you, I'm trying to get DMR out of it. And, I don't want DMR. DMR shouldn't be in it. We should not be a part of that piece of property. And if I can get out from under it, that's what we're trying to do. And that's what we're working on. Yes, ma'am.
DMR gets out of it, wouldn't the restrictions or in the warranty deed go with the property? Let's say
we're working on that right now. We're working on all that right now as we talk. We're trying to find out what we need to do, and if we did that, what would happen? Would all the restrictions that CIAP put on it stay, or would they go away? And we're looking at that. We're looking at everything about it right now, and that's why I don't want to tell you something and not tell you 100% of the truth until I get the answer for it. And as soon as we get the answers, we'll let you know.
All right. Thank y'all. We got all that done and out of the way. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Everybody have a good week.
Harry.